right, everybody, welcome back to Guitar Radio Show. Our next guest returns to us with this. It's the new Jim Campilongo record. It's called Man in a Ball in a Ball. We've got a
Correct.
lot. We've got a lot to talk about. We've got a lot to discover about this record. If you have not heard this record, please go and purchase this record right now. You can pause this episode, go buy this disc, and listen to it, then come back, and you'll really, really, really be entrenched in what's going on here with this new record. Please welcome back to Guitar Radio Show, Mr. Jim Campilongo. How are you, Jim?
I'm good. It's always great to see you, Mark.
Good to see you.
And thanks for that intro.
Yeah,
Wow.
it's a great record. I mean, you sent me the record, and I listened to it for about 4 days over and over and over again. And I called and I shot you an email, and I said, this album is beautiful, and it is. It's funny. My co-host Rob Wingler and he lives in New Jersey, so I had him on the phone with me, and I had my boom box, and I put the CD in. I said, let's listen to this together, man. He's like, cool. And we both, from the opening notes of Until We Meet Again, we went, oh. We literally both went, oh.
Oh, nice.
This is a swooner, folks. This record will make you swoon. That's what it does. It's so good. I love it. And I was thinking about that and why. I was thinking about the why, to me, what the why is. And it's ultimately, I think I'm starting to finally figure you out after listening to you for the last 15 years. And I think it's the touch, your touch. I mean, yes, note selection, chord selection, songwriting, all of that. Yes, yes. But once all that's together, when the performance happens, it's the touch. Would you concur?
Well, I might concur. I was nervous about the record. And I just did, as I mentioned before we started this officially, I was in New York and I played with Josh and Chris, who I played with once a week in New York. And I was nervous, and I told Dan Reeser, who I talk to all the time, who's the drummer in the quartet, I said, I'm kind of nervous because I think my playing's changed a little. And he goes, it'll be fine, And I said, I don't know. I just want to play like the melody, And he's like, that'll be great. And it ended up really working out. And we had our, chemistry right away. But yeah, I mean, I guess like touch is a big part of my playing. And more so lately, I don't want to undersell anything after that great intro, but I mean, I just want to play the melody like I'm a singer, and maybe 20 years ago, I was a little more ambitious, and I mean, I really like those records, and a few of those tunes, I thought, geez, I can't really play this, like it's just not me anymore. So touch had a lot to do with the record, and I just like playing ballads, a lot. There's a couple of, like Mate Times, kind of a Jimmy Bryant-esque tune, though I play slowly. It's like fun for the whole family. And, there's nothing totally evil on it, like Finger Puppet Evil,
Yeah. That's so funny. I was listening to that the other day. I love that song.
Yeah, I do too. I really do.
And Back Burner. I mean, that whole that's my favorite. That's like my, that was kind of my introduction to you.
I know. Yeah. And you were one of the first people to hear Man in a Ball in a Ball. And to be quite honest, like with Martin Atkins mixed it. And, you have to hear, I mean, I try and mix like really fast. You have to, and I just do it by nature. Like I'm not going to spend 11 hours on a mix. Maybe 2 hour limit, literally imposed, and hopefully mix it in an hour, like per tune. But I was still a little sick of it. And I got the CDs. And when you get the CDs, you have to listen to a CD to make sure it doesn't glitch or whatever. And I didn't do that. I just sent one to you.
Really?
Yeah, that's the truth. And I was like, well, if it glitches, I'll find out. And you were literally like, I mean, other than me and Martin or a few people involved making the record, to hear it.
Oh,
And,
wow.
and I was really happy you liked it. And I know you're a fan of Orange. And Jeff Beck, and great. You have great taste, so I was really happy you liked it. So
Well,
thank
yeah,
you.
it's really good. It's the next logical place, I think, for you and your music. It makes sense, you know.
Well, it's my 17th record.
Wow.
Yeah,
Holy
yeah,
cow.
yeah. Holy cow.
So you said earlier, just a little bit, you said that, you're not sure if you could play some of that. Like, so you couldn't do back burner now? I think you could play back burner.
I could play back burner for sure. I mean, I have. Last year I played it. Um, I have the technical facility, but I don't really write that way. Uh,
No. Yeah.
and um, I still play Twister in the set, which is from Heavy 10 Gallon Cats, which
Right.
is kind of like a Jerry Reed thing. And the
Right.
set has those moments, but um, I don't write that way anymore. At least I
Right.
haven't lately for the
Well,
last few
yeah.
records.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, you saw that on the certainly on the Fortet record where it was going, you know.
Yeah,
Yeah, absolutely.
yeah.
Um Now, I want to talk about specific tracks, but I need to talk about the title track to get started because one, I need to know what does it mean, man in a ball, and are you the man in a ball?
Um, well, maybe, but it was inspired by a documentary I saw called um, Class Action Park. That's the name of the documentary. And it's a documentary about this place called Action Park that in the 80s was like one of the first water slide parks
Yeah,
in the US.
I remember it.
Um, okay. And I loved this documentary. And like, I mean, on a serious note, like people died there, like people's kids died. Um, and
Yep.
the, and it was a balanced documentary. Like they had interviews with the mother of a kid who died at this park, but it was also kind of beautiful in a way on like how it was lawlessness. Like um, it was a bunch of kids they'd hire. People were running and jumping all over. The rides were made up by like maniacs who drew something on a napkin. And one of the rides, like there's a lot more to it. I highly recommend watching this documentary. I watched it. I could watch it right now. I don't know. I just love it. I could keep. I've seen it about 4 or 5 times. There was a ride they had briefly called Man in a Ball in a Ball. And I really like the name. And it was literal. Like they made this slide thing, like these rails that they'd put a ball on. Then there was a ball in that ball with, I guess, ball bearings. And a guy would sit in that ball and be spinning each way, going down these rails, but very typical of this park. Like engineers didn't design it, I don't think. And these rails were made out of a substance that if the sun hit it, they would crack. So they put a guy in it, and the guy went down the ramp, which, built up a lot of speed, but the ramp had broken. So he got dislodged, rolled down a hill, crossed the freeway, and ended up in a body of water and came out. And I'm sure he was quite dizzy. So, I mean, kind of not typically, they decided that ride was too dangerous. But there were many like that were crazy. They had this pool where it was like they'd simulate waves, but people were drowning. Like people died in this pool because they didn't take into account that one of the reasons why going to the beach and being in waves works is there's a buoyancy created by the sodium in the water.
Right.
This was no sodium water. So they'd have waves, and I mean, this sounds so tragic, and I guess it is. They painted the bottom white so they could see who was drowning. Like, I mean, and that's like the dark side of the place, but it just was like mayhem. And I talked to a couple of my New York friends, and one guy, Nick Allison, who's like a completely responsible father. I'll ask him, "What are you doing this weekend?" "Well, I'm taking my daughter to go see colleges, and he helps me with my computer." He's like he's a little younger than me, but he's a gray-haired guy. And I said, "Hey, did you ever go to Action Park?" And he goes, "Oh yeah," and he goes like 10 times. And I go, "Did you ever get hurt?" And he goes, "Yeah, but it's okay." And I said, "Yeah, people got really hurt, Nick, like going to that park." And he goes, I mean, I guess I could quote him. He goes, "Yeah, but they were pussies." And this is like a responsible father. So that was kind of the attitude of the young people there. And that was the ride, Man in a Ball in a Ball. And I really like the name.
Yeah.
I like the documentary. And in some ways I related, and it does kind of, articulate sometimes how I feel. So anyway, that's the long story.
That's great. Wow, that's so cool. I love that. Oh man. Yeah, I do remember Action Park though. I do remember it. Yeah.
Yeah, it was in Jersey. I never went. I was in California, but the documentary is called Class Action Park.
I got to check it out. That's great.
Really good.
But I remember all the commercials on the radio, and yeah, it was a big deal. It was a big deal. But to hear about that, that's great. The Man in a Ball, Man in a Ball. That's super cool. All right. When you sit down now, before you do a record, and I may have asked you this before, wouldn't surprise me if I did. Before you do a record, are these songs that may have been sitting around for a while or just kind of lingering in your head, and then it's like, okay, now it's time. This song is ready to go onto a record.
A few were like that.
Mm-hmm.
And they are songs that in some cases didn't work in a trio.
Mm-hmm.
And just you need a chord.
Mm-hmm.
One was Black Cat, was kind of older, and I added horns, and there was a rhythm guitar arpeggiating. That was an older one. I thought, oh, this is the perfect time for Black Cat. Something else too, I can't remember what. And even like Man in a Ball in a Ball, the title track has Nana Argen going ding ding da ding da 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 ding da ding da da, like the whole time, in real time too. I got to hand it to her. None of that is like, oh, let's import it or double it. She just played it, and my hat goes off to her. But that song needed that guitar line, which I couldn't play if I play anything else. And it's too busy for the bass to play that, if not impossible. So
Mm-hmm.
that was another one, like, okay, I got a rhythm guitar and I got steel guitar. I could add that to the record. Um, so yeah, there was a couple that I thought, yeah, now's the right time. Um, I mean, I guess I could have done them with the quartet, but I think I had like all new songs I was into, um, and this happened really quick for me. So anyway, yeah, I went through and went, oh yeah, this one's pretty good, or I'd listen to it. And I had a folder that was just like called the work file, the
Mm-hmm.
work folder. And some of the songs, like I could see like why they never made it to a record, but I think I heard Man in a Ball and thought, hey, that one has a good chance. And I worked on it again, that one. Uh,
Mm-hmm.
so yeah. But like Until We Meet Again was new. I'd have to see this CD. I should have it here. But I mean, some were brand new.
All
Um,
right. There we go. I'll put this up for you.
yeah, I'll grab it. Bernadette Maria, brand new. Gray to Blue, brand new. Mate Time, not super new. Man in a Ball, not super new. Over the Rainbow, new. Oblivion, new. Black Cat, older. Visha Crespo, older, more or less new. So, it's about 60/40, maybe
Right.
70/30
Right.
of all new stuff that I never tried. Um, Oblivion took a really long time because that took me about a year, um, because it's an Astor Piazzolla tune and he's like a god here. I mean, I get applause just saying his name at a gig. So to do his song, I felt like I really had to do it right. I came up with arpeggios. I played it here in October and then thought, yeah, it's time to put that on a record, especially one that's, very Argentinian,
Mm-hmm.
just recorded here with Argentinian musicians.
Mm-hmm.
So, but that was technically new.
Right. So,
So,
uh, was it Bernadette Maria that had a different title initially?
yeah, a couple of them had a different title. Bernadette Maria was called Desert Sand,
That's right. Yeah,
which
you
I
sent me,
kind of like.
yeah, you sent me chord charts for that. That was cool.
Yeah, yeah, right.
Yeah.
Okay. And I kind of wanted it to imply more of a romance. Like, um, and my dentist here, his name was Bernadette Maria, and I thought that was really pretty. So I called it Bernadette Maria, but I kind of like Desert Sand. Until We Meet Again had another name too
Really?
for a long time. Um, it was called Roy.
Roy?
Yeah, yeah, Roy. Um, and the story with that is, I was writing this column called Vinyl Treasures.
I know it well.
And, okay, and I had written the Vinyl Treasures on Roy Buchanan one, and then I thought, I'm going to write an article about Roy Buchanan's second record because I think it's great.
Mm-hmm.
And enough time had elapsed so it wasn't like a bunch of Roy. So anyway, I listened to that record and it's the last track on side two, like She Once Lived Here or something. And I was listening to it and writing, kind of at the same time because I used to do that. And I thought, wow, this is a tremendous tune. I ought to try and learn it. So I tried to learn it. I was learning it and I thought, I'm not really quite happy with the form. And so I started changing it and did this and did that. And next thing I know, I have, and this is like, I'm admitting this. I hope they don't come after me with lawyers. Um, I thought, I would do this, this, and this, and the bridge would happen here. and finally I was like, this song is kind of a brand new song. And
Hmm.
so I called it Roy because it,
Okay.
and I thought I'll give him like credit. But I came down here to Buenos Aires and we played it live as a trio. And everybody got confused because I was doing blues for Roy from Orange, which I play live a lot.
Yeah.
And Roy, and guys I'd go, let's do Roy, and they'd go, which one? It's instrumental music, and I'd go, the slow one, and that didn't narrow it down. And I'd have to be Roy, the country one in D,
Right.
or the monolithic blues, and I don't know if they know monolithic here. My
Right.
Spanish is terrible. Their English is pretty good, but you have to kind of watch it sometimes.
Yeah.
Um, with the fancy schmancy words. Uh, so anyway, right when the record was released, I thought, okay, I'll call it Until We Meet Again, and I still call it Roy. To be honest, like
Well,
it's hard to undo it.
I think the new title suits it because of that. It's got that. The pedal steel in there and all is just beautiful.
Thanks.
Um, it's funny too. I like the weaving that goes on there because sometimes it can play tricks on your ears where you're going, okay, wait a minute, was that Jim or was that the pedal steel?
Uh,
Or was it the pedal steel or was that Jim? It's kind of
yeah,
that nice inner weaving is really beautiful in that.
the soloist on that is Rich Hinman. Uh,
Hmm.
and I believe like those weaving parts are him, you know. Um, but I sent it to a pedal steel player, just my demo at home, like, and I don't do fancy demos. I just like put on my iPhone voice memos and
Same
record.
here. Yeah.
They're real low budget
Hmm.
and low quality. And the guy thought it was pedal steel, and I was like really flattered by that. And yet, like, I'm really not trying to do like, I mean, it is pedal steel. Ask some of the stuff, but
Hmm.
um I wasn't really trying to go full pedal steel or anything. It was like out the tune, but I really like that, and I like the title too.
Yeah, me too. I mean, but don't you think when you're playing a Telecaster, it's hard not to kind of dip into that world? I find it very
Yeah,
difficult.
yeah, I mean, I just kind of hear it, but I've played I played with a pedal steel player, not Joe Goldmark, who really hated any pedal steel from the guitar, a pedal steel guy. Like he hated it. And I was kind of bummed by it,
Yeah,
because I wanted to do that at the time, especially. But when I listen to Jimmy Bryant and Leon Rhodes with Buddy Charlton or any of those guys back in the day, they did not do that. I mean, they might have been playing heavy flat wound strings, but they played like more jazz lines,
absolutely. Yeah, particularly
and
Jimmy
not
Bryant.
they weren't
Yeah,
doing. So I see the reasoning behind it, to be honest, or the history behind it.
yeah,
Um,
yeah.
but and if I'm playing with a pedal player, generally I will try and play like more single note jazz lines, jazz. Um, but that song was my song. It's my record. It's and Rich Hinman overdubbed. That was the one overdub we did on the record was Rich Hinman
So then the rest of and I was going to ask you this because it's in my list. So the rest of the record is live on the floor.
live on the floor, 2 days.
Wow. How long were the days?
I mean, not incredibly long, like 10 a.m. to 7 p.m.
That's amazing.
I mean, thanks. It was a good little studio, Los Dios Perfectos.
Great
Um,
name.
Yeah, and I had my amp. I was in the same room with everybody, but we had it baffled with
Right,
blankets, so I didn't have to use headphones.
right.
And I could like walk and position my way if I needed to hear me more or somebody else more. And that's the way I like to record. I mean, I heard Tusk by Fleetwood Mac took a year.
Yeah,
I mean,
that's absurd.
I would love to do that. Like,
Really?
well, maybe not a year, but I'd like more than like 2 days of live, you know, and get it all done. Like things are so, I mean, hectic. Like, for example, and I don't want to taint it, but the song Black Cat, I would have liked to have played nylon string on that.
Okay.
But, there's no time.
Yeah.
Like,
Though the older I get, the more I realize the more that we play this music when we create something, when it's time to finally put it down, if we are constantly beating up on it, you know, I think we start to lose its intention, its original intention. That's the thing I fear the most. I get scared about that. It's like I need to get this down right now. You know what I mean? And get it out. And there have been things that I've done. There's this thing that I did with Rob. We're working on a music library. It's a track. It's a piano part I've had since 1980, and I could never do anything with it. No matter how many times I tried, I couldn't do anything with it. And finally, I sat down with it and I built the drum track for it, and I did it. And I was like, this is pretty good. So I asked Rob to put a bass part. He's a brilliant bass player. And then I grabbed my Yamaha Rev Star and I got as close to a jazz box as I could, and I put something down one take. I'm not going to think about it. I'm just going to do it. And and I don't like my music. I don't like, I hear my music and I'm always like, ooh, you know, but I heard that and I was just like, wow, that means something. So because I didn't beat it up, do you know what I mean?
I totally agree. I wouldn't want to spend a year and work out a solo.
Yeah.
Um, I mean, the solo would be really good. It would be a compositional solo with the kitchen sink thrown in.
Mm-hmm.
And when you do it live, at least me, I don't really, the kitchen sink. I mean, I'm not throwing it in. I'm just trying to play pretty or play it right or
Mm-hmm.
play from the heart. Um, so there is that aspect, but given a week, like I would have like got a nylon string guitar, maybe
Right.
some overdubs.
Right.
I
You could experiment.
but I do love the fact that the more I've done this, the more I'm like, I didn't really like, I don't play like complete wrong notes or anything, but it might be something I don't love. And I think, well, that's what I did. And that's
Yeah.
that moment.
Right.
And it also has an intensity because it's so old school. It's like, I mean, the Beatles recorded Meet the Beatles in one day.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, and I read that John Lennon was ashamed of Twist and Shout because he had lost his voice.
Well, he had done 34 takes
Yeah.
of
And
that
I
vocal.
I love that
It's the
track.
best. And I heard George Martin say that that's what he was shooting for, and he wanted John to do, but he really couldn't get the message across. So he just kept making him do it until he got
Huh.
hoarse.
I didn't
And
know that. I'm
yeah, so
surprised they had the time to do that many takes.
yeah, they
But
probably were having a good day that day, and they said, okay, we've got a
yeah,
little extra time. Let's beat up on John.
yeah. Go get some tea, guys. um, but there's good things that happen, and that first take is always uh, sometimes my best, really.
Yeah.
Um, And, you know, I don't want to seem like I'm complaining. I mean, look at John Coltrane, look at the Beatles, look at Miles Davis, look at John McLaughlin. I don't think they spent a year making, you know, uh, all the things you are, or
Right.
you know, giant steps.
Giant steps. I was just
Yeah,
thinking of giant steps.
like, you know,
Yeah.
uh, the pianist, I forget his name on Giant Steps, like had to go with what he played, you
Yeah.
know.
Yeah.
Uh,
Yeah.
so I could go with what I played.
I
And
mean, I
there,
would imagine the same thing happened with the Jimmy Bryant and Speedy West stuff,
oh, for sure.
you know?
Yeah.
I mean, and that stuff is to this day, there are people that are like still scratching their heads like, how do we even
I'm one
reproduce something like that?
I'm one of them. Speedy told me that they put their amps in a V and they
Hmm.
just sat on them facing each other. And they had one mic in the middle of that V. Yeah.
That's mind blowing.
And
That's
I,
mind blowing.
I asked Speedy, I was lucky enough to talk to Speedy. I asked him how he came up with his titles, and he said, well, we just make them up on the spot. He goes, hubcap roll. And I think that's off a Speedy West record. He said he was late for the session and he drove over railroad tracks and one of his hubcaps flew off and he didn't have time to go find it. So they called the tune Hubcap Roll.
That's fantastic.
Yeah.
See, like man in a ball in a ball.
Well, maybe better than that, but yeah, man in a ball in a ball. Like
What?
it's a really good concept, I think.
Yeah. Were you living in New York when WNEW was a rock station?
Yeah, but I didn't listen to it then.
Okay, there was a DJ on there. Yeah, I forgot what they called him, but his name was Scott Muni, and he was the program director there, and he was like one of these old salts of rock radio. Like he was I think he was born old, but he he uh, he as a young man DJ in New Orleans was happened to be in the recording session for Fats Domino's Blueberry Hill.
Wow.
And it was two mics. One mic to pick up the vocal and the piano, and another mic to pick up the rest of the band. And according to him, and on the floor at the mic stand was a bottle of uh, White Lightning, and it just got passed around to everybody, and they knocked it out in one take.
Wow. Yeah, I've heard like Muddy Waters would invite like prostitutes and stuff to, their recording sessions, and they'd be like packed in Walter Chess's studio, and
Right.
the guys would just perform, you know.
Yeah.
So, I mean, that sounds good to me.
Yeah.
At least it's fun,
Totally.
instead of I'm spraying money out of a fire hose, take seven, like, and I'm
Like that the
trying to
story.
remember what I play when I'm inspired,
Right.
you know.
Right.
So,
So like I was talking to Waddy Wattel, and he was saying when he produced Excitable Boy, the Warren Zevon record with Jackson Brown, and they were working on Werewolves of London, and they were like they just couldn't get the rhythm section right. The bass and drums were just not happening, and Warren didn't like it, and he was like, you know what? They did 52 versions of the drums, and they brought in 52 different players of combinations of people to do this, and it just was not happening. And they were like, look, down the hall in Studio A is John McVie and Mick Fleetwood. Let's just go and ask them to come and listen to the track. Have them just listen to the track. So they brought them into the control room. They listened to the track, and they said, let us have a shot at it. They're okay. So they go in, they do it, they knock it out one take.
yeah, well, I mean, yeah. Like, I mean, I'm a big, Klaus Vorman, Ringo Starr fan,
Yes.
So I mean, that Plastic Ono Band record, he just doom, 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 it's like, man, that's perfect.
Yeah, what do you need? Yeah, I mean that Ringo's still one of the greatest drummers of all time.
For sure.
Absolutely. Playing for the song always,
Uh-huh.
you know.
Always.
Um, so what is it like and how is it different recording in Argentina? Is there a different mindset to the recording process, or is it
I'm a little bit. I generally record. That's a good question. I usually record with my friends,
Mhm,
like the Fortet, Luca, Dan, and Andy are my friends. So,
mhm.
um, but in Buenos Aires, for example, when I first came here, the second time I came, my friend Rafa of Lumiere Guitars said, you should do some gigs. And I know these guys, Sergio Verdinelli and Mariano Otero, and they're great. And you should play with them. So I emailed them, and I'm in like California. I'm like, hey, can you do a couple of these gigs? And they were like, yeah, sure. So
Mhm.
I sent them like 25 tunes, like MP3s with my chord charts that say like G, C, D7. It isn't like everything's all written out. And like a month and a half in advance, I give everybody time so they don't have to, do it the night before. And anyway, like a week before I was supposed to arrive, and maybe 9 days before our first gig. And it ended up that our first gig was kind of the big gig here, you know. Um, I'm like, hey, when can you guys rehearse? And they were way more interested in prioritize eating together. Like, and if I remember correctly, we never rehearsed, but I went over both their houses and ate. And I went over Sergio's, and he was like, "Have you had our lucha de leche? Like they have it here, and they sell and put it on toast." And I was like, "God, this is fantastic!" And he was like really happy. And Mariano Otero would put on these like barbecues, and that was the vibe, and that's the vibe here. And I mean, if a band eats together, it's always a really good gig. But I mean, I was a little like, hey, we should get together and practice once, like this is how we end it. Like my rehearsals aren't like 2 hours tops. Like we start it this way, we end it this way. Like we don't practice the middle, we practice maybe the beginning and the end, and then I'll
Makes
go
sense.
down. I'll be like, okay, this is, blah, blah, blah. And, um, this is how we end this one. Like Twister, this is how we end it. Okay.
Right.
Like you just have to practice the endings, kind of like, because the middles will be okay, And I don't think we ever did that. But the priority was, um, we should eat together and get to know each other. And the recording was a bit like that, where it was at Mariano Oturo's studio, Los Dias Perfectos. And he said he has a studio just so people are happy. Like, I mean, and I think that's very true. Like, he just wants people to be happy, and um,
So what you're saying is it's a place to gather.
yeah, like it's a place to gather and musicians to gather and be happy, you know.
That's cool.
Um,
Wow.
yeah, I mean, I actually asked my dentist, Bernadette Maria, like I had to get some dentistry when I was here, and I wasn't like a healthcare tourist. It just happened.
Right.
But at one point, she spoke pretty good English, way better than my Spanish. And I asked her, why did you become a dentist? Not defensively. I was just curious. And she said, she looked at me kind of quizzically and went, to help people. And it wasn't, so I make 500,000 a year and I could golf on Monday, you know. I'm not demonizing every health practitioner in the US, but there is a different mentality here, that's a little different than the US. And that was prevalent during the recording.
Hmm.
Though I'm lucky enough to record with my friends in the States too. It's a good
Right,
vibe.
right. So really, we can sum it up to one word, and that would be, to me, I hear joy.
Yeah, I was hoping you'd say that word, and that's a key word.
Yeah,
You know, and
yeah.
yet they're excellent. They're great
Oh,
musicians.
they're wonderful.
You know, I mean, that wasn't a concern, you know.
Yeah, right. And so really, I mean, those meals, everybody getting together, having those meals, and essentially was like osmosis. It was this, you sit down together, that's I love that. Because every band that I've ever been in, particularly the one band that I had some success with, it took us a while to get our telepathy, but once we locked in, we could finish our sentences, as our verbal sentences as well as our musical sentences. And that's a special thing to have. And to get that over a meal, that's pretty damn cool.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, that's like a really good place to have it
Yeah.
too. Um, so yeah.
Well, I mean, you're. I don't know how entrenched you are with your Italian roots. I'm very entrenched with my Italian roots. Um, and the house that I grew up in, food was everything. It was, you know, when my friends came over to my mom's house, it was the moment we walked in the door, it was like, you boys hungry?
Right.
And she'd start fixing food and we would all sit down and everybody would talk and sooner or later you're there for hours looking at the cloud. Oh, the sun went down. What the hell happened here? You
Yeah.
know, so there is a lot to that cultural, and those similarities are very strong between South America and
Well,
they.
especially Buenos Aires, there's a lot of Italian heritage here.
I didn't know that.
Yeah, it's like Latin Italy. Like, and
Interesting.
I've been to Colombia and Mexico, which are great. But this is a very Italian place
Huh.
for South America. And even Sergio Verdinelli is my drummer.
Uh-huh.
If
Yeah,
and
you're right.
Yeah, I mean, most people have Italian names here.
That's really
Uh,
interesting.
yeah, yeah. So, and the food thing is really important, and people take pride in it. The food's really good here.
Yeah.
Uh, yeah. So you hit the nail on the head.
Yeah,
And
that's cool.
and since my grandparents came from Italy, though I'm very, I don't speak Italian, um, I grew up with that, and I feel like I totally get it here,
Hmm.
and feel comfortable in it. So
Yeah.
yeah, it's the same thing.
Yeah. Um, so you chose to do Over the Rainbow, um, and it's a solo piece. Um, I had many, many conversations around the table with Les Paul and him talking about that session that he was on with Judy Garland's legs dangling from the stool as she sang. Um, and Jeff Beck has recorded this song. Now you've recorded this song. And it's one of those songs that I mean, I'm going to go look it up later. How many times has this song been covered? What was the reason you decided to cover this song? I
Well,
know I have my idea, but why did you cover it?
I mean, one of the reasons I cover songs is I want people to know the song.
Mm,
Like right now, I'm playing "The Entertainer," da boo doo da boo da boo da,
Joplin
and
piece, yeah.
I've had people refuse to play it. like because it's so typical, or they played it on piano when they were 6. But and it's a hard tune. I'm going to play it next week. And I'm not playing Over the Rainbow, but Over the Rainbow is a song everybody knows.
Right.
And I kind of lean that way. I mean, I'm somewhat unexposed, to, the third song in the musical Annie Get Your Gun or whatever. I kind of know the hits. I wasn't like brought up going to musicals or anything. So I kind of tend to know the hits myself. But I did Over the Rainbow because everybody knew it. I liked it. Didn't think about how often covered it was, especially if Jeff Beck did it. Might make me stay away from the damn thing. But because he's so great, or was so
Mhm.
great. But I wanted to do it because I wanted to make it more tragic and not hopeful. And I always enjoy doing that. Like, I don't want to sound like a big cynic, but I mean, I kind of knew it from the movie, you know. Um, what's that movie called with Judy
The
Garland?
Wizard of Oz.
Wizard of Oz. That's
Yeah.
how I know the tune. And it's like very hopeful and moving. And I kind of wanted to, and I did When You Wish Upon a Star on Orange, and I wanted it to be like the guy doesn't get his wish. Like this, I kind of did the same thing. Like,
Uh-huh.
okay, what's my motivation here? And Mate Time is like really positive, you
Yeah.
know. Um, but that was one of the reasons I did it. Like, so two reasons. I felt motivated to come up with a take, and I also felt like everyone would know what my take was because they knew the song.
Right. It's hard though because it is probably one of the most beautiful melodies ever written. That's hard
It's
to do.
it's nice, It's a nice song. Um, I mean, I think everything's kind of hard. I mean, and it has a really nice melody. So that's like half the battle. I remember doing this gig for Corvette, like pre 2008. They unveiled their Corvette, and they really wanted me to play Magic Carpet Ride
Uh-huh.
by, I think it's Steppenwolf.
Yeah.
And it was a trio. And I was like, I tried it, and it was really difficult because there isn't really a melody. Like, there kind of is, but it's like,
But it's like, that's proto heavy metal.
yeah, yeah, it's like not, what do you do? And there's like
Yeah.
not a chordal instrument, and
Right. It's a power
but,
chord song.
but Over the Rainbow, or I've always wanted to cover Stardust. Da 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 da
Mhm.
da 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 da. It's like such a great melody
Mhm.
that if you just play the melody, you're going to win the game. You're at
Mhm.
least going to get a single,
Mhm.
you'll get on first. And on that one, uh, it's about someone who's reminiscing about their partner who they like loved, who died. And this melody is reminding them of this person, of a love lost. So I don't have to like, redefine what the song
Right.
is
It's
about.
already there.
Yeah, it's already there. And I really like that. Like, I find that motivating. Um, and sometimes, like, I do feel like an actor, like, well, what's my motivation?
Yeah.
And that's why I look at lyrics and stuff like that, even if I play instrumentally. And thankfully, I didn't hear Jeff Beck's version. But I see all your strats, man. That's beautiful. I see. Are you a lefty?
I am.
Yeah, yeah.
I
Wow,
am.
that's a really great collection. I
Yeah.
like your baby blue one.
Yeah,
Uh,
that's great. Oh yeah, that one's great. It's been around the block, that one. Yeah, it's heavy. That's a heavy one.
is it? Yeah,
Yeah,
it doesn't look
super heavy.
heavy. I mean,
Super,
how could baby blue be heavy?
right? It's yeah,
But
yeah. It's a contradiction in terms, that guitar.
when I see Jeff Beck play, on YouTube or whatever. I've seen him live a few times, but
Hmm.
I had to really play a Strat with a vibrato bar. Like, I mean, he's so masterful at it.
Yeah, and between that and the and his command of the volume control for
Everything.
yeah, all of it. Yeah,
Yeah.
it was crazy. It was
And
crazy.
he's such like a gunslinger,
Yeah,
and I'm into it. It isn't like, oh, this guy's a poser. Like, he's
yeah,
such a gunslinger, but he's
yeah.
like pulling it off. Like, I love that about him. I love Jeff Beck.
Me too. He was such a weird culmination of influences, right? I mean, he really loved Little Richard. He really loved Cliff Gallup and
Les Paul,
and
obviously.
Les Paul, big time. You know, and those really, over time when you really like dig down and listen, you could really hear that stuff in there. Like it look like it was funny. I didn't know that like Peter Frampton was really influenced because of his dad was really influenced by Django Reinhardt.
Yeah, I did know that.
I didn't know that until I read his book. And then when I listened to his music again, I was like, okay, that's why his guitar
Yeah,
playing sounds like this.
yeah. It
You know,
isn't Django, but
it's
it
not Django, no, but
makes
he's not a
sense.
blues guitar player either.
Yeah, yeah.
He wasn't
And,
part of that whole Clapton. What's the name of the band? The
Blues Breakers.
Blues Breakers. He wasn't
Yeah,
part of that. He would never have fit into that scene.
no,
You
no.
know,
Yeah,
but
he's kind of underrated in a way.
oh,
I mean,
absolutely. Yeah, I mean, his some of the note choices are unlike anybody else at that time. It's really kind of interesting. Got to ask you about the track Oblivion.
okay.
So I listened to it and I'm like, wow, it's deep, it's dark, um, and it gave me a Lower East Side vibe. Um,
Yeah, that's funny. Yeah.
and walking through the walking through the rain, you know.
Well, that's I briefly mentioned it. That's the Astor Piazzolla piece that I
Mhm.
covered.
Mhm.
Um, and, I thought about it a long time. Like, first off, I got the music, and then I had the Astor Piazzolla version, and I was like, yeah, the music isn't really covering this. Like, the music would have like, all right, I might get radio here,
Yeah, I
but
can't even hear you. There's some sort of gate. I can't even hear you.
yeah, there's like a thing called musician sound that's not being
Let's see
offered to
here.
me. I'll have to go into the settings. Hang
Let's
on.
see here. More
No.
meeting settings.
Yeah, they
Audio
improved
audio
that.
settings.
Like,
Original sound for musicians. Here we go. Okay.
yeah,
Try it
but I
now.
should have it. How'd you find it?
I went into more.
More.
Yeah. I'm doing this on an iPad, so that's
Okay,
probably.
yeah. Settings.
Yeah, go into settings
Yeah, audio.
and then audio settings.
Yeah, it's not being offered in there.
I'll try playing again. Let's see what happens
Okay,
now that I
sorry.
changed it on my end.
Yeah, I think it has to be on my end.
Yep, it does.
Okay, so that was, but in reality, Astor would go.
Oh, there it goes.
So I gave, and everything had grace notes that I'd either learn and veto them or learn and play them. Then, sorry, it's in the entertainer. Sorry, and I came up with these voice things, this, and it took a while to like interpret And um, but I did, and we played it here without the chords, and it went over pretty well. And
Right.
so I was like, okay, good. So I was encouraged. I came up with the guitar arpeggios. I showed him to Nana, um, who played rhythm on the record,
Hmm.
and I was pretty hell bent on like having a pedal steel solo, not me. Um, and the guy we had here, I don't think was totally comfortable doing it. And so I sent it to Rich Hinman in Boston via Pro Tools. That was the one new millennium thing we did other than tracking live in 2 days. And um, it was a lot of work. I think we had to combine two tracks. Um, And so I mean, I don't want everybody to hear it differently just to enjoy it, but they're like two takes spliced together.
Okay.
And there's the one we had originally sped up, and this one speeds up a little bit, but it's okay. Um, Also, we heard like there's the arpeggios going on when I'm playing, but we drop them out for the steel solo. There's nothing. Me maybe playing like, block chording,
Right.
ching, ching, ching.
Right.
And but there was bleed, and so I had to kind of consciously cover it up, and we did it all like in 10 minutes, uh, of course, but it
Nobody
worked.
else would have known.
And I'm glad you like it. And I owed it to Argentina, Astor Piazzolla, and myself to come up with a good version, and it worked out. The other night, it came on accidentally. Like I was listening to something on YouTube, iTunes, and then Oblivion came on. And I sat down and listened to it, and I was like kind of terrified at first. And then I thought, oh, wow, this is good. And
Isn't
I don't want to hear it again for a while because I like that verdict.
isn't that a nice feeling though? It's like, because I know I can sense that you are your own worst critic as am I. But it is really nice that when you walk away from something and then you hear it again later and go, huh, okay, that's
Yeah,
that's okay, you
that's
know?
a really good feeling.
It
And
is
it
a very good
happens most of the time. Like I've gone back and heard, I mean, I remember being like ashamed of American Hips, okay? The album, like
wow.
ashamed. And I wouldn't listen to it and I had to put it out. I had just moved to New York. I had like a little cushion. I spent every penny on that record. And it was like, if I was like burping and farting, I would have put it out. Like I had to. And at the time, I kind of felt that way. Like I had food poisoning, like during the tracking. I was sick as a dog during like Michelle, like sick as a dog. And anyway, like fast forward 3 or 4 years later, I have like iTunes Shuffle on my thing. You stick your iPod in
Uh-huh.
that thing, and I always had it on shuffle. And I'm friggin' vacuuming in the house, and I hear this guitar playing, and I'm like, "Huh, that's pretty good." And I think, "Is that Mark Ribot?" And I stop the vacuum cleaner and I listen for about another 5 seconds, like a long 5 seconds. And I'm like, no, that's me. That's Jim's Blues off American Hips. And I thought, wow, that's pretty good. And I remember, like I said, I was like ashamed after it. I'm so crazy. You
That's
know?
that's wild. Is that
Yeah.
Mark Ribot?
Is that Mark Ribot? Who I don't think I sound like, but
No, you don't sound like Mark Ribot.
mm,
You made me think of somebody though. I just in the beginning of the year, I had a really wonderful 3-hour conversation with a good buddy of yours, Mr. Joe Gore.
oh yeah.
and that was a blast because he's like the I don't know, he's like Pollock on guitar.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? It's like what? It's like hello, and I love his sensibility. You guys, I can see how you two could get along really, really well.
We
Um,
do.
and I know that you guys had a thing on YouTube called the Jim and Joe Show,
Yeah, yeah.
which is great. And supposedly now you need to confirm this with me. Supposedly there's material recorded, ready to go.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, there's material recorded. Joe did all the technical stuff. And I know he wanted to record a record, which I'm totally down to do. And there is, I don't know if there's enough for a record.
Hmm.
Um, if you say a record's got to be 40 minutes. Um, I don't know if we have 40 minutes worth. Joe's kind of going in between Arizona
Yeah,
and San Francisco, not to disclose too much here. And I'm flitting around all over the place.
yeah.
And I know he emailed me telling me, I think I'll be home in March. And I'm like, I'll be totally gone in March. Like, but we will get together again. I love playing with Joe, and
Yeah,
he's really creative, and he plays like so uniquely.
he does.
Um, there's no, uh, you know, conflict.
Yeah.
I mean, even though like people who are good, I mean, I've been lucky enough to play with Adam Levy,
Hmm.
Steve Cardenas, Luca Benedetti, like really good players create chemistry, I think. Um, and Joe like will play something completely in a way that I wouldn't play it. And somehow that does work, you
It
know?
does, yeah. I mean, those get-togethers on that YouTube channel are has have really gleaned some like eye-popping stuff.
Great.
You know, what was that
Thanks.
one Avenue? Was it Avenue Z?
Yeah, I think that was Joe's tune,
Yeah,
Avenue C. I haven't watched it,
it's
but
fantastic.
I always enjoyed our arguments at the end. Like Joe would say something like, um, yeah, I really hate guitar solos, and I'd be like, how could you say that? And and they're on like YouTube, I
I
mean,
know he mentioned that.
yeah.
You guys have
And
this back and forth. It's great.
yeah, I mean, it's not like I'm the biggest, whatever fan. Um, but I mean, I don't know if Joe likes Jeff Beck, for example.
I think he does, yeah.
Okay, but Joe might say, like, my least favorite guitarist is Jeff Beck or something like
Right,
that. You never know.
right.
And um, I would enjoy that because Joe is so smart. If I said, wow, I totally disagree with that, and I'd say why, and I'd have a good reason I could prove in court, like
Yeah,
why Jeff Beck like is a formidable force of guitar.
right.
Like, and I always enjoyed that. Like we were saying something.
Yes. Well,
But
that's really interesting you should say that because you remember the record that came out in 1975, Les Paul and Chet Atkins, the Chester and Lester record.
yeah, yeah,
They won a Grammy for it. So there was a lot of talking on that record.
right. Not
Uh,
my favorite.
what?
Not my
Not
favorite
your
record.
favorite? I enjoy the record just for the talking. That's one
Uh,
of my favorite parts of the record.
yeah, I mean, and here we are. I don't mean to be a jerk, and if I think there's a lot of good stuff on that record, but I have over 100 Chet Atkins albums,
Hmm.
and I wouldn't say that's in the top 10.
No, this was a novelty record.
Yeah, yeah, and their talking kind of gets to me after a while.
But you guys could do this.
Yeah, 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 yeah. Well, we're doing it now. Um, I think the Chet Atkins Mark Knopfler record
That's a
is a
very good record.
really good
That's a
record.
good record.
Yeah. I've talked about that before. Now, Joe might, I mean, I'm just guessing here, and I don't want to put words in Joe's mouth, but Joe just might not like Chet Atkins, you know, and like Bartok instead, or
Yeah,
something.
he does love Bartok.
Yeah, he loves Bartok,
He
but
does.
he's like a regular dude too,
Yeah, no, he's a punker, you
Yeah,
know.
he likes the Sex Pistols. He's
Yeah,
like
absolutely.
Dr. Gore. So anyway, yeah, I miss Joe. I'll have to email him after we talk.
Yeah,
Uh,
like when this thing does come out, uh, I want to have you both on
that'd be great.
to talk about it. That's going to be a blast. I'm just going to let you guys go. I'm going to sit back and let you guys go.
I mean, I agree with Joe 90% of the time,
Yeah,
but I do remember one video. I don't think it was Avenue Z, and Joe said, and I didn't like the Beach Boys, but
right.
I kept it under wraps a little bit. Because I know I'd get like thrown in the mud and stoned by the internet audience. But I'm not a big Beach Boys fan, nor a Pet Sounds fan. I
Hmm.
do love God Only Knows. I think that's a good
Hmm.
tune.
Hmm.
But and Joe is like eats, sleeps, breathes, and eats Beach Boys. But I kept that kind on
Well,
the down low on that
yeah,
one
and
because
I think he's more of a Beach Boys guy than he is a Beatles guy. I think. I think. And it's interesting because I'm with you. I'm more of a Beatles guy than I am a Beach Boys
for
guy.
sure.
What interests me about Pet Sounds is the way it was recorded more than the songs themselves.
Yeah.
That's the part of Pet Sounds that is really interesting to me. But yeah, other than that, I mean, for me, Beach Boys, the only listenable record is Pet Sounds.
I
For
mean, we must be so wrong because, like, the Beatles loved the Beach Boys. Like, like I humbly accept that I'm absolutely wrong here. And I mean, Sam Ryder, who I'm lucky enough to play with in Spaghetti in the Bay Area, mentioned, like, have I heard John Fahey about a month ago? And I said, oh yeah, I've heard John Fahey. I am well informed about John Fahey. And, I said, I'm not like a huge John Fahey fan, but I do think he's good and musical. But I do know all his stuff. Like, because I reiterated it like three different ways, because what you get is you haven't heard, like
Right.
fill in the blank. And, I mean, I have.
Yeah,
It's an informed opinion,
yeah,
and it's just an opinion,
absolutely.
you
It's like
know.
they're like belly buttons.
I mean, I think I would rather listen to Merle Travis than John Fahey
Absolutely.
personally,
Me too. And
but
Joe Maphis.
well, Joe Maphis, I mean, you know, now we're getting, I mean, but in a finger style guitar,
Yeah.
like, but when I was in high school, I got on Forward Christian Soldiers by John Fahey, and he plays kind of Travis picking in a D tuning.
Hmm.
And man, I listened to that for months.
Hmm.
Like, I went through a John Fahey thing, but people have been discovering him like the last 10 years and stuff. And I get it. But again, I think maybe Merle Travis might be calculus as opposed to basic math.
I agree. Absolutely. And,
God.
I'm going to piss off people. I'm going to piss off people by saying, and I have this conversation with Rob all the time. Uh, for me, Clapton's best years were what is Disraeli years, and that's kind of it for me.
I mean, I like Layla. I like 461 Ocean Boulevard,
Yeah, so does he.
but I wouldn't pit that against, like, it's like, well, what are you in it for? Like,
Mhm.
then if you're in for it for like searing guitar playing, Blues Breakers, like Wheels of Fire, the live record,
Hmm.
Live Cream Volume 2,
Hmm.
um,
Yeah.
even
Cream was
Goodbye
great.
Cream.
I love Cream. Cream was that was I think was the ultimate, you know. And who knows? We might be if Jimi Hendrix would have lived, we might be here saying, yeah, so it's those first three records and that's it, you
I
know.
think I think he was heading there if you listen to Cry of Love versus, and Cry of Love was kind of a compilation post after he died.
Yeah.
Um, but I mean, I found it interesting that Clapton's guitar playing on Eyesight to the Blind,
On the Tommy soundtrack
yeah, was really good, but he was
was
playing a Gibson.
phenomenal.
Yeah,
Oh
he's
my God. See, this is
uh,
why I love you, Jim. You pick out this stuff. I've always said that is the best Clapton performance I've ever heard. Is
it's
that
really good,
Oh,
and
it's
he's playing a Les Paul,
and
not a
it's
Strat.
right, and it's angry, and
Uh-huh.
it's purposeful, and it's like it's a big middle finger. That's what that is.
It's really good, and I even hesitantly brought it up even to a fellow nerd like yourself.
Uh-huh.
Like you totally get the reference. So I think maybe we like Gibson Clapton.
Hmm. Maybe you're right. Maybe
Yeah,
that's it.
opposed to Strat Clapton. I
Wow.
really like Derek and the Dominoes live though.
Yeah.
Um, his Let It Rain solo before the drum solo is really great, man.
Yeah.
Like, and he's playing a Strat. I think probably the whole band's on speed. Who knows? Bobby Whitlock is singing his butt off. Jim Gordon's like playing like there's no tomorrow. It's
Right.
really great. And after the drum solo, it's good. There's a long drum solo and it speeds up. And then they come back after 8 minutes drum solo. Before that drum solo, and Rolling Stone magazine said, and they have these stupid things so people discuss it, I think, but they called it the worst solo of all time.
Hmm.
And to me, it's one of the greatest solos of all time. Um, Before the drum solo, Let It Rain live off Derek and the Dominoes live.
Okay.
Man, it's fantastic. And some of it is like cliche ridden, but I think he defined those cliches.
Yeah, I would say so. And I mean, in Cream and moving forward, yeah, he was blueprinting.
He was blueprinting. What a great way to put it.
Yeah.
And I find that solo like really fast in the sense that it isn't like that guy Mateo I see on YouTube or
Mhm.
Alan Holdsworth kind of
Mhm.
fast, but it's like thinking really fast, like doing a phrase, living with it for a moment, doing another concept, living with it, and like kind of like regurgitating these eventful moments is how I hear it. I've played it for people, as recent as within the last 8 years, go, hey, check this out. And
Mhm.
they're always kind of like, yeah, it's pretty good. And I'm like really excited about it. Maybe your listeners could check it out and put it in the comments
Yeah.
what they think of that solo. And that is a Strat solo, but overall, I think I do prefer Clapton with a Gibson.
Again. Yeah,
And lately, I prefer Clapton off the internet. Come
yeah.
on, Eric.
Yeah, it's funny. I never thought of it that way. You kind of cracked my brain open now. Yeah, Clapton with a Gibson is the Clapton I like. That's
Mhm.
crazy. Wow. That's interesting. Um, hmm. Okay. Walk me through I mean, you said Black Cat was a track that had been around for a while, right?
I wrote it, yeah, a couple of years ago.
So what was the maturation on that? Did it start off as just a melody or?
I can't remember.
Yeah.
Like, um, usually I'll like play some chords and sing and copy what I'm singing.
Mhm.
Um, and usually what I'm singing is um, unsophisticated as far as guitar goes. And sometimes it's just hard to play. Like, for example, and now my amp's off because I pick up radio. Like I'm in A. Can you hear that?
No.
Shit. Um, just to demonstrate, it's a tube amp. Sorry. It'll come. Come on. Come on. Should be hearing something. Ah, there we go. Okay, like we're in A. Like I'll sing this note a lot. And it doesn't like fall real comfortably. Like, if you do it's falling comfortably, but just to go or mate time. And I think I wrote this as a melody, but some of the things I play, I don't find them comfortable. I mean, they're not, I don't write that song,
Right. Right.
They're usually like I have to jump around.
Yeah,
And on that one, on Black Cat, I think there's some jumping around, and I probably sang it and then learned what I sang.
that makes sense. I get
It
it.
wasn't ancient. I'd say it was like 2 years old, maybe a year old. And I just couldn't do it in a trio and
Mhm.
probably didn't have enough confidence to think, oh, yeah, this is good enough to be on a record. Um, I sent it to my friend Joe Williamson, and she really liked it. And I thought, well, if Joe likes it, I'll do it. And so
So you're still using the Luminaire guitars,
that's true.
and they sound great. Um,
Thanks.
um, are they the type of guitar? Because I haven't yet to play a Luminaire. Are they the type of guitar that kind of feel when they arrive? Does it kind of feel already broken in?
I think so. I the last two times I came here and New York, I didn't bring a guitar because the guitar is getting too hard to travel with.
Yeah.
And I borrowed one of Luca's, and then I just came here and played an off the rack Lumiere. And I played an off the rack Lumiere on this record.
Wow.
Yeah. So, um, you know, I'm not Macho Man or anything, but it's a good telly,
Yeah.
and I played through a borrowed Princeton style amp. Now and then it breaks up in a way I don't like. It's a little dirty sounding for me. Um, but yeah, I played an off the rack Lumiere on the record.
Wow, that's crazy. That's
Uh-huh.
that's cool. And you're still using the Dario.
Yeah, I just upgraded just recently to these like um, I got them here. Like they're supposed to last longer. I got them
Oh,
here.
okay. They're coated?
Yeah, and usually those fail miserably for me
Yeah,
because I
they
have to change
yeah,
them like every time I play.
they've
But
had for
these
me as
actually
well.
kind of last. Good, I got them. Sorry, I got them rubber banded. It's these.
Oh yeah. Okay.
Okay, and these are not cheap, man.
Those are the
Like,
excesses.
yeah, they're like, list $19 a
Yeah.
set,
Yeah.
but I
Yeah. I
will
mean, I
say
just
they're really high quality strings,
right.
and they do last like um, longer than 5 hours.
Yeah.
Like Like the Diodarios I used before, like for 30 years, lasted like 5 hours.
Yeah, so
Um,
those were like the NYCs. Were those the NYCs or the?
they were just
Oh,
nickel.
okay, the blue
Yeah,
pack. Okay, yeah,
yeah, the blue pack.
right.
You're
Okay,
speaking my language.
yeah,
Um, and those just didn't last very long at all. Like I'd certainly change them every gig.
yeah.
Um, I'm shocked because I've tried the other, like, oh, these will be great, and man, they lasted like 7 hours, you know. Um, and these do last. They're just kind of pricey. Like I get an artist discount,
Hmm.
but and they're packaged, they're all still in the same rubber deal, plastic deal. Like
Right,
it's not like individual in plastic
right.
paper like in the old days, which was great.
Yeah.
But they're you could tell they cared about it. Like the Diodario blue packs I was getting, like were coming out rusted sometimes,
Oh, really? They were
yeah,
oxidizing, huh?
like a little brown on them.
Wow.
Um, Rafa here told me that he put on a new one and it unwound at the ball. Like they were getting shoddy. And I don't want to, Diodario has been so generous to me. I don't want to diss him. But these, it looks like they're said, okay, like let's get serious,
Right,
you know.
right.
And so usually I bring like 20 sets with me. I only brought five, that's the ones there in my
And are
bag.
those treated or no? Those aren't treated.
Those are
Oh,
treated.
they are treated. Oh, okay.
And I mean, I can't believe that they actually work, but they do.
That's great because usually that whole treating thing, I guess the technology is just getting better.
Yeah, I use like stay in tunes and all that. And guys
Right,
would send me sets for free and
right.
I'd put them on like, oh, okay, what the hell? I'll put
Yeah.
these on. And they'd last like a gig and then be like, just like look like they were left on the bottom of the ocean for 2 years. But these do last, I gotta
Yeah.
say.
What gauge
Um,
are you using?
I use nines to 42.
Okay.
Yeah, I mean, I've been doing that since high school.
Yeah.
Um, I think Richie Blackmore used them or something, or, I used to get Ernie Ball
Hmm.
like back in the day. Um, and now I like tens because there's more surface like to pick on with your right hand. They're a
More
little more
body.
there.
Yeah.
Like the nine feels like a tiny thread sometimes. Um, but I just don't want to get tendonitis or anything at this point. So I stick with the nines. Once in a while, I have a Strat that has flat wounds on it, kind of ode to Jimmy Bryant. But I use the nines to 42s. I taught a guy here last year in October, and he was a really good guitarist. And a first lesson's kind of a blind date. Like you don't know what you're going to get. And this guy really wanted to learn like behind the nut bending and all that
Right.
kind of stuff.
Mhm.
And and he couldn't do it because he had 12 to whatever. Like he had the really thick Stevie Ray Vaughan strings.
Right.
And at one point, I said something, and I've never said it before, and I thought it made a lot of sense. I said, okay, you use 12s and I use nines, and you can't do what I'm doing on my nines. What can you do that I can't do because you have 12s? And he couldn't say, I sound better because he didn't. I
Mhm.
mean, not to put the guy down. I'm not saying I'm like the end all, but he didn't sound better than me. And I dig Stevie Ray Vaughan and Jimi Hendrix, of course. I do think both of them tuned down a half step, making those 12s or whatever they were, 11s or 12s, like a little more slinky. But again, I pose that question like, what can you do on 12s that someone who plays nines can't do?
Right.
And but if you reverse that, what can someone on nines do that's, someone on 12s can't do? There
Mhm.
is a slew of stuff,
Yeah. Oh, absolutely.
you
Absolutely.
know?
Yeah. That reminds me of the story that I heard Billy Gibbons talking to BB King, and he happened to say, "So, what, what kind of, BB, what kind of strings, what gauge strings are you using?" He goes, "I'm using eights," and he goes,
Yeah,
"Eights," and he goes, "What are you guys using?" He goes, "Oh, we're using 11s." He goes, "Why are you working so hard?"
yeah, yeah, yeah. I mean, it does sound good and you get a more pitch, I guess. I heard that Johnny Guitar Watson used like three 008s, like EBG. We're all 008s. And when I found that out and heard like, here's a real mother for you or whatever Johnny Guitar Watson hit
Yeah.
was, like, and he's going binger, binger, binger. And I'm like, oh, that makes sense.
Yeah.
I love that.
Yeah,
Like,
absolutely. That's so cool. Yeah, I
uh,
mean, I had hand surgery about 4 or 5 years ago, and I was like, they said, well, it's going to take some time before you can start playing again. I was like, well, that's unacceptable. So I went out and I got sevens, and I put
cool.
I put sevens on a bunch of stuff, and I'm kind of like, I'm digging this,
Uh-huh.
particularly on certain scale lengths. It makes a big difference for me and makes me go somewhere else
Uh-huh.
that I might not have gone, as far as like, pitching, bending beyond that pitch, you know, to
Mhm.
somewhere else,
Yeah, I mean,
someplace nasty.
I've felt judgment saying nines, for me, like, oh,
Yeah.
and if I do, and I know we can't hear it, I turn the amp again. If I do like a whole step bend on a little,
Right. Yeah, behind the nut. Yeah.
and I get, well, what gauge strings are you playing? And it's like, well, nines, but it ain't easy. I still got a divot in my finger.
Right,
Um,
absolutely.
yeah, I use nines.
Back to the record. There's a track on the record called "Gray to Blue," which to me is got a real New York vibe to it. I just put NYC next to it on my list.
Nice.
Is Would I be in the ballpark there?
Well, Gray to Blue was the first song I wrote for this record.
Oh wow.
Yeah, and it was on a Sunday, and I know it was like there was like a slew of football that day. And man, this is like so unromantic, but I was like, okay, I got to write a song like now. And I didn't feel like writing, and I hadn't written for 4 or 5 months,
Wow.
Um, and I said, okay, write a song now. And I did. And it was Gray to Blue.
Cool.
and and I think it's like, I mean, it's okay, it's good enough. And um, but that's the truth. Like, and there were songs that were really inspired, but that song was like, write a song now, finish it, pretend you're getting $1,000 to like write a
To
song,
write the song. Okay.
like to write and finish the song. So I went da 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 da. Then the bridge is pretty good. Um, but we kind of swing the bridge,
Yeah. Yeah.
and that worked out. I mean, it's not a bad song.
Oh, I love it.
But
It's great because it's part of the first, like I think the first three songs on the record completely set you up for the rest of the record. You know what I mean? It's like
nice,
hooking
good.
people in, you know what I
Mhm.
mean? And I mean, like I said, when we listened to the first few notes coming out of the speakers, we were like, whoa.
I'm
And
glad.
and it's like there's that touch. There's that, sensibility, that intention, whatever you want to call it, it was immediately like captivating. It grabbed you and said, "Okay, now you got to listen to the rest of this." And then the next, once again, I know that one of the most difficult parts of making a record is the sequencing.
Yeah.
It's like, okay, how do I, because you could really a bad sequence record can can make a bad record. You know.
Yeah, I didn't, I just, the last couple records I did with Luca, and I was like, you do the sequencing.
I
And he's
remember you
good
saying
at it.
that. Yeah.
He's good at it. And I started to lose confidence that I could even sequence. And I did like one sequence once on this record. And like opening with Until You Meet Again was kind of like, well, people who don't like country might not like this record. Like it would be the opposite of reeling them in because it's
Right.
kind of country, right? It's the
Kind
kind
of.
of royish song. But I was like, I really like it, and so that's what I went with. So I'm glad you like the sequencing.
Yeah.
I have found that if a record has strong tracks, sequences is irrelevant. But
Hmm.
who knows? I listened to the Sergeant Pepper like different sequencing. They put out a like remastered one with different sequencing that some Beatle approved, probably Paul. And I was like, I don't know, I kind of like the original sequencing. Like, I
Yeah.
can't remember. It was a CD, some thing I got.
Yeah.
Like, I bought Sergeant Pepper again.
Yeah.
I don't know why,
It-
but
would you
anyway,
would you
I'm
say
glad
that?
you liked it.
Yeah, no, I do absolutely. Would you say that Sergeant Pepper is the ultimate Beatle record?
Well, it depends. Like I go through different love affairs with the Beatles, kind of like spring, like when you feel spring and you just feel grateful, you could feel spring again.
Hmm.
Like you see a woman's shoulder and it's
Hmm.
spring, and you're like, wow, that shoulder really looks lovely. And I'm so glad I'm alive and it's spring, like
Right.
spring, like that.
Right. I
Like,
get it.
okay,
Viscerally.
viscerally,
Yeah.
exactly, without being sounding creepy
Yeah.
like I just did. But that's spring to me.
Yeah.
Um, and Beatles are like that for me. Like I recently just went through the one after Sergeant Magical Mystery Tour,
Hmm.
and I never really liked Hello Goodbye or Your Mother Should Know that much, but I checked the whole record out. I'm like, man, Flying's great, and so is like Baby You're a Rich Man, and
Hmm.
I really dug in that record. And so I picked different records and to answer it too long, like some friends of mine and I got together like group Zoom, and our mission and project was to make the White Album one album. Okay, like, and
Okay.
it kind of didn't go well. Like, guys would really take it personally if you were like, yeah, I don't want to put Obla Di Obla Da on my one LP Beatle record.
Right. I
And
wouldn't.
yeah, I didn't either, but it did not go over well. And these guys, well, they were kind of musicians, but they weren't used to that.
Hmm.
Um, I don't know. I'm more used to it. Like, yeah, I don't like the Beach Boys, Joe Gore. Joe Gore has a response that's not angry, you know.
Right.
Um, and same here. Um, but anyway, my White Album, uh, admittedly, ended up being like 99% John. And
Interesting.
there was Happiness is a Warm Gun,
Yeah.
Julia,
Yeah.
Everybody's Got Something to Hide Except Me and My Monkey. Like, I can't remember all the I'm So Tired. Like, I mean, it was like, wow, John was on fire during this album.
Hmm.
Like,
Did Ballad of John and Yoko make it?
well, that would make it, but that's a single, and I don't know if it would be on the White Album proper.
Yeah.
But I love the Ballad of John and
Me
Yoko.
too.
I love that's I I got that single when I was like 12,
Hmm.
and my parents forbade me for listening to it because I would listen to it over and over all day, and it started driving them nuts. And I don't think they appreciated Christ, you know it ain't easy.
Easy.
Yeah, that didn't like go over well in the Campilongo household after like hearing it 300 or 400 times every day.
Yeah.
Um, but anyway, that would make it. But yeah, I think Sergeant Pepper's is right up there. But sometimes I like the black and white Beatles.
Hmm.
Like Meet the Beatles.
Yeah. For me, it's
So
Rubber
yeah,
Soul.
it depends where I'm at, and spring happens again, and I
Yeah.
fall in love with the Beatles all over again, and I'm grateful that that can happen.
Yeah. Yeah,
You know,
that is the beauty of the Beatles. You can go away and come back and rediscover it entirely.
yeah,
I love that. Like Rubber Soul's that way for me. I love that record.
love Rubber Soul. You know what was good was Let It Be Naked.
Yeah,
Um,
that was fun.
yeah, they had Don't Let Me Down on it and something
Mhm.
else really good.
Yeah.
And I never really like one of the questions I ask people is, and I'm not asking now because it's very, feathers get ruffled in the audience, but I'll ask, what's your least favorite Beatles song? Like, I don't ask, what's your favorite Beatles song? What's your least favorite? Because that's a harder question.
It is hard.
And if I go out on a limb here, prior to Let It Be Naked, The Long and Winding Road was kind of one of my least favorite Beatles songs.
Interesting.
Um, and after hearing Let It Be Naked, I was like, wow, I really like this. And I really liked Rufus Wainwright's version. No, no, that's Across the Universe, which I'm not nuts about on that record either. Everybody
Okay.
loves that song,
Uh-huh.
but I'm not a big Across the Universe fan. So I wasn't a huge Let It Be guy.
Right.
Like that, I prefer side two to Abbey Road,
Yeah.
Um, so Let It Be was like on the bottom of Beatles until Let It Be Naked. And I was like, man, Let It Be's great. Like, but I highly recommend that because I was like, I don't want to buy the Beatles again. I already got the records. I got the Japanese pressings. I got this. I got the CDs. I mean, how many times can you rebuy the same thing?
Right.
You know? But I got Let It Be Naked and I have no regrets.
It's a cool record. It was really interesting to hear it that way. It's really interesting. Did you
It's,
watch that documentary?
pardon me?
Did you watch that documentary?
Oh, yeah, a couple times. I loved it.
That was wild.
Yeah, they were so like evolved. Like, and I mean, to see them like getting shocked by mics and sitting
Yeah.
on amps and a crappy PA, you know, it's
Watching the
like,
guitar fall.
yeah, and they were like hanging in there, man, not complaining.
Yeah.
Um, I really, and I liked the humor. Um, I thought their style was incredible. What they would wear, like it'd be like, oh yeah, we're going to practice today, and George is wearing a pink suit. It's like wow,
That's what he
like.
decided to put on that day.
But yeah, I just decided, and Ringo's looking great. And Ringo, you just love Ringo more
Yeah.
after seeing it. I love Get Back.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. So good. Um, so two questions. One, were you using a Princeton on this record?
Yeah, it was like a Princeton kit record amp made here.
Oh, really?
Yeah, because I didn't bring any. I got an off the rack Lumiere and a Princeton kit amp.
And but it did what it did. I mean, obviously, it sounds like the Princeton.
Yeah, I mean, it sounds like me. Once in a while, it's a little too distorted for me. Like I wish it was a cleaner distortion.
Uh-huh.
Um, And the verb is a little splashy, I think, like if I'm really going to be critical, but it sounds good. I mean, on some tracks, it sounds great, like on Until We Meet Again. I think
Yeah.
it sounds really good,
Yeah.
but it's not my stuff at all.
But but yet the title track really sounds, I mean, that, once again, probably what you're diming everything and then pulling back the treble, like you say,
Yeah,
right?
yeah.
And what did you get? You threw in a blanket over it or something, and it's
We
got,
had baffles and then blanketed
yeah,
it. You got to be careful because you don't want to cook the amp,
right,
you know.
right.
If it's
Um,
on for 9 hours in a really enclosed space, because I did that once, we put it in a big road case during the Willies, and at the end of the session, my amp was like melting. Yeah, yeah. But um, and I couldn't really access it, and so um, the first song we recorded was Visha Crespo, and
uh-huh.
that was take one. We didn't do any other takes, and I was like, yeah, this sounds good, and I just kept it that way for the whole record, except for Mate Town and something else. And I just said, hey, Nana, can I play your guitar?
But the amp
And
setting was the same all the way through.
she had her own amp. I don't even know what amp it
Oh
was.
wow.
And I sat there and went da ba doo ba da ba doo da 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 ba da ba da da, and I did the solo, and I just played her guitar, and I don't know what the amp was, but
Huh.
it's a different sound. I
Yeah.
did it. I used her guitar on something else too, and I just asked her and grabbed it and played it.
That's great.
Yeah,
I love that.
wasn't like the Edge in U2. I don't even know what amp it was, but it was definitely a cleaner sound, less verb, worked for the tune.
Right.
It's a good guitar. It was a good amp,
Right.
so it was fine.
That's cool. Have you ever used a B bender?
I no, um, I've played B benders, but no. I don't know why. I mean, you do things that you can't do on guitar, like that
Yeah.
beat goes up a whole step or
Yeah.
whatever, that you physically can't do, I don't think. But no, I'm struggling with just the regular Telecaster. I am. I mean, a lot of guys play slide really good, and they go in these Joni Mitchell tunings and
Yeah.
all that stuff. And I'm like, man, I'm just struggling with 440 and like playing, like trying to remember the things I've learned. Like, and I think that was the B bender for me. Like, even though Clarence White sounds phenomenal.
Yeah. Absolutely.
Mhm.
Um, Before I let you go, I've been doing something fun lately with friends and other musicians and some guests. I've been doing a word association.
Okay.
So,
Well, I did a Gura interview here last in October, and the guy asked me like, "Do I believe in God?"
oh no, 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 not
And then he asked me some version of like, "What do you think happens during the afterlife?" And I answered, "Diodario." Anyway, I'll do word association.
that's great. All right. Well, I'm going to name a guitar player, and you tell me the first thing that pops into your mind.
Okay, I'll give
Okay.
it a go.
All right. Jimmy Bryant.
Stratosphere Boogie,
I love that. Love that tune. Red Volker.
the best.
He's pretty killer.
Yeah, I've spent some time with Red, and we did this guitar thing in New York,
Mhm.
and he is like the nicest guy ever.
Wonderful.
And we got to eat together.
Yeah.
Speaking of Argentina, and during one of the lunches, I go, "Hey, Red," I go, and he had just like the night before been fantastic in the context of like really good players. And I said, Red, do you practice? He's like, no. And it made me feel better. He like works on a farm and he's like,
Yeah,
I think he said, I'm making fences and stuff. He's
yeah,
like, he's a trip, man. But he
yeah.
picks up that guitar and it's like, kind of like, wow, lick number 32 is fantastic. So, wow, lick number 240 is really great. Like, he has kind of that, like, there's like a thing where I feel like it's a lick he plays and puts together.
Uh-huh.
I also don't know how he raises the pitch of his like E and A strings. Now, I do some neck bending, but to do that, I don't know how he does it.
I'm
It's
not sure.
fantastic.
I mean, I've stood right in front of him watching him play, and it's impossible to really decipher a lot of what he does. He's so, and it's completely, to me, it's completely effortless,
It seems that way.
but it's
I
probably
mean,
not.
I don't know. I didn't ask him that, but practice makes perfect.
Yeah.
He played with a guy who really frowned upon, like, if you got two choruses, the choruses would have to be conceptually different. So
Hmm.
if you played single note lines, your first chorus, the next chorus, you'd have to play pedal steel or chords or whatever.
Right.
And he does that, like,
Yeah.
just intuitively, like, it's like, okay, here's Merle Travis finger picking. Now I'm doing pedal steel. Then I'm going to do single notes that I'm raising the pitch in a way that like everyone finds impossible.
Hmm.
Like, he's really great, man. I love his playing, and he's one of the nicest guys in the world.
Absolutely, couldn't agree more. The first time I got to interview him, he said, "So where do you want to do the interview?" I said, "Well, I can come to you. We can go meet somewhere." He says, "How about the Continental in Austin?" I was like, "While they're open?" He goes, "No, while they're closed. We'll just go sit." I was like, "Okay." He goes, "Meet me there at noon." And so I went there at noon, and it was just me and him and sitting in the bar. I was like, "How did you get in here?"
He's such a cool guy.
Yeah, very cool guy. Very cool guy. Okay, Roy Buchanan.
Well, a lot of things pop in my head, but first album.
Hmm.
I don't know if these you want deeper answers. Like, I'm
Yeah,
kind
go
of,
for it.
um, but the first album was the album that I got, that I still think is his finest. Um, yeah, Roy Buchanan's first album. I first heard Roy on the PBS special, and my
Austin City Limits.
well, no, it was called The World's Greatest Unknown Guitarist.
Oh, I never saw that.
Yeah, it's really good. It's
Is
on
it on
YouTube.
YouTube?
Yeah, I would Google Roy Buchanan, Mundell Lowe, Misty,
Okay.
and Roy plays with Mundell Lowe. He plays Misty. He plays with Merle Haggard with Roy Nichols. He does some live stuff, and Bill Graham introduces him. And it's kind of before his first record, and you could tell he's really trying to make a name for himself. And it's really great. Um, and it was a public television special.
Cool.
Um, and I was about 11 or 12, and my dad had the TV on, and I heard, "Oh, Jim," and which is kind of uncharacteristic of my dad in a way, but he did it. And I walked in the living room. He said, "You ought to see this guy play." And it was that special, and it was Roy.
Wow.
Yeah,
So
it's
that was
really good,
that was
man.
that was a defining moment for you, mate, really.
Yeah, I mean, I didn't start playing, but it was like duly noted.
Right.
Um, and a couple of years, I mean, maybe a year later, I bought that first record, and
Hmm.
I hadn't played yet. And I really liked Pete's Blue, which Blues for Roy is modeled after it humbly,
Mm-hmm.
because I think that's the greatest Roy Buchanan track.
Mm-hmm.
Like it's da da yeah, da da da, and that's it. That's the whole tune. And he does like everything you can do.
All right.
But he played Middle Eastern at some point, and I really like that. I really like Paul Butterfield's East West too. Before I played, I really liked Middle Eastern guitar, you know.
Yeah.
So,
That's cool. Um, Don Rich.
huh. I'm just thinking of motorcycles. Um, Now, what I know about Don Rich is he said one of the reasons he wanted to play guitar was to hide his paunch. Um,
I
he
never heard that.
basically he basically invents truck driver style guitar. He's a great vocalist I mean, I think they were the greatest country band, and I really like the Strangers, but like, I mean, the Beatles covered them. That's how hip the Beatles were,
Totally.
like, and Ringo's like 17 and changes his name to Ringo. Like, how cool are these kids from Liverpool? But
Right.
that's kind of, more than motorcycles. And I know Don Rich died on a motorcycle, which I
Mhm.
find really tragic. Um, and I know Buck Owens kind of put on the brakes after that, um, more or less. But they're just one of the greatest country bands, if not the greatest country band in my book.
They were complete renegades.
I
I mean,
didn't,
against
I know
the whole
they
Nashville system. It was,
Bakersfield thing,
yeah.
yeah. And Tom Brumley is like such a great pedal player. I mean, Together Again is like a masterpiece,
Hmm.
you know.
Hmm.
Um, but all I said was motorcycle, but that's like what I know about Don Rich and a big fan.
Yeah. Cool. Man, I can't thank you enough for doing this today. This has been a blast.
Yeah,
It's always a blast to talk to you.
I was looking forward to it.
Good. I'm glad.
So
Folks, let me just do this one more time. Yo, look, enough's enough. Go buy this record. Oh, by the way, I meant to ask you, is this going to be available digitally as well?
yeah, it's available digitally on Bandcamp.
Okay.
Um, which is you could stream it for free or you could buy the download
Okay.
on Bandcamp. And Bandcamp has very fair royalty rates.
Okay.
It's the first record I said I'm not going to put it on Spotify or Apple Music. All my other records, I think, are on that.
They are.
But this, I mean, the easiest way to find that record or how to buy it or get it or listen to it for free is to go to jimcampilongo.com under vinyl or records. I forget what it's called. And there'll be a thing with links under it.
Yeah.
International shipping's a link. Then there's just buy it from Amoeba. And then there's a link to Bandcamp. Bandcamp, you know about Bandcamp,
I
right?
sure do. Yeah.
Yeah, like people here in Argentina don't know about Bandcamp.
Wow. But they can get it, right?
They can get it. I mean, I actually brought some with me, and there's international shipping. I'm going to sell them at gigs. I mean, which is limited, but yeah, they can get it with the international shipping.
Right.
Um, but they're not. I mean, they don't know what Bandcamp is, and this is a hip place. I
Yeah.
mean, Uh, but I bet you per capita, there's more people who have CD players here than in the US.
Yeah, probably. Yeah, that makes sense.
Yeah.
Totally. Yeah, well, like we say at the end of every show here, our announcer Red, she says at the end of every episode, she says, if you like the music you hear on Guitar Radio Show, don't just stream it, buy it. Okay? And I'm a big fan of going ahead and saying, okay, I'm going to buy this, and then I'm going to go stream the shit out of it. So we cover all the bases, folks. You want more music, you got to pay for it. Nothing's
Yeah,
free.
that's a funny, I mean, I know we're ending, but I remember the drummer from Metallica was like really against Napster and
Mhm.
everybody hated him. And he's not a really likable guy. And I've seen on social media, like some musicians say, like, hey, I hate Spotify. And I mean, the comments, sometimes are just demonically negative, you know. I mean, and I would say, like, yeah, I'm the luckiest guy in the world. I don't say that like sarcastically. I'm the luckiest guy in the world. But it isn't like I'm eating bonbons in bed and demanding your money, before I like look in the mirror and play guitar in front of it. The reason we want to make money is so we can do it again.
Mhm.
Um, Orange cost $30,000.
Wow,
Yeah,
really?
yeah. And records cost a lot of money. I mean, just to say the word record is $15,000.
Yeah.
And unless you record it like at home with your friend and add like, drum machine and bass, and I don't know how to do that, like, admittedly, but the reason why you want to support musicians is so they can do it again. If you spend $10,000, $11,000, whatever, and that's like not doing Tusk, you
Yeah,
know,
right. Yeah.
that's like, I wish I could have played Nylon String on this song, but we didn't have time, is $11,000, is so we get something back other than $400 from Spotify, who, by the way, paid Joe Rogan $200
Million.
million.
Yeah.
Okay, so they got some money coming in. And again, I am the luckiest guy in the world. If anybody watched this, please don't hate me. I'm not greedy. Um, it's like I know many artists, and some just can't do it. I'm stubbornly like keep on making records, but it's never been harder.
Yeah. Yeah.
And I think Apple and Spotify basically own music now.
Yeah, it's a monopoly. It's become a monopoly. That's why I love places like Bandcamp because not only that, I can get to hear stuff that um, I'm not going to hear anywhere else, and stuff that I mean, you know how it is when we were growing up. You'd hear a band that nobody else heard, and they were yours. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? It was like, oh, I can't wait to tell everybody I know about this band. And then all of a sudden, everybody around you knows this band. It's like, well, fuck this. They were mine before they were yours.
Yeah, I
I
mean,
like that
it's
about
tricky,
Bandcamp.
and I don't know if you could get Bandcamp in a car, now. Like, I drive a 2006 Honda Civic with a CD player, and I
Hmm.
love my CD player.
Hmm.
I listened to Coleman Hawkins for a month and a half till I got sick of it and kept it in there, and I liked it again. And I did the same thing with the Leon Rhodes, Buddy Charlton. It was the um, oh God, I can't think of his name. Ernest Tubbs
Uh-huh.
band doing instrumentals. Same thing. I heard it till I was sick of it,
Hmm.
and then I started liking it again. And I really, it's not like I have 100,000 songs in my disposal, or 100 million. It's like I live with the CD in the car, and I
Hmm.
really enjoy it. Right now, it's John Coltrane Giant Steps, which I think I mentioned earlier.
Yeah.
Um, I haven't gotten sick of it yet, but I will.
Yeah. I was
I'll
just
like,
listening to it the other day.
it's a really good record.
It is a good record.
Yeah. Anyway, that's the story. Like, I appreciate what Red's going to say, but
Mhm.
that's why, like, that's the reason behind it,
Yeah.
is not greed or taking for granted how lucky I am and my fellow artist friends. It's so we can do it again. Anyway, and you don't have to listen to it for free, whatever. It's cool.
Well, like I said, buy it and then go stream it. There's nothing wrong with that. There's nothing wrong with that.
There's nothing wrong with that either. Mark, it's always a pleasure. Thank you for having me on your show.
Always, anytime, mi casa, su casa, without a doubt. You hold on one second, but we're going to sign off right here.
Okay, I will.